Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing how Dave Filoni had one simple request for Mary Elizabeth Winstead before playing Hera Syndulla in the Ahsoka show. We're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. In this video, we are going to be taking a read from the director's article. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. As a read, Lucasfilm's Dave Filoni had a Star Wars to-do list for Ahsoka's Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who's playing Hera Syndulla in the show. For those who feel Ahsoka on Disney Plus requires audiences to do their animated Star Wars homework and have seen the Clone Wars or Rebels or Tales of the Jedi in order to understand what's actually going on, they weren't the only ones. And on a little bit of a side note, it is one of my only problems with the Ahsoka show, really, is that it can be a bit difficult to follow through if you haven't seen the Clone Wars or Rebels. That's really my only complaint about this show. I want to talk about this and discuss it in further detail in a separate future video here on the channel. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell for when that video comes out. We're also discussing and talking about all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, so if you guys are into any of that, grab that subscribe button and join us here today. Anyway, according to Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Star Wars Rebels pilot Hera Syndulla in live action in the Ahsoka show, series showrunner Dave Filoni had requested a certain thing from this Ahsoka star before cameras began rolling. In a recent interview with Empire magazine, which was conducted prior to the ongoing SAG-AFTRA strike, Mary Elizabeth Winstead had revealed that Dave Filoni gave her a Star Wars Rebels watch list. A list of certain episodes that may be important to watch or know of at the very least before playing the character in live action, especially with maybe how some of those narratives or storytelling throughout some of those specific episodes may affect where our characters are now in the Mandoverse after the events of the original trilogy and after the events of Return of the Jedi. I believe this to be really important to us fans because this can give us a little bit of an insight of maybe what we can anticipate and expect to see here for the future of Hera in the Ahsoka show. Star Wars Rebels was a 4-season, 75-episode Star Wars animated show set 14 years after Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and leading up to the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, bringing us into the original trilogy. The show had followed a group of rebels prior to the organization of the Rebellion Alliance, who was largely led by Hera Syndulla, a talented Twi'lek pilot and now New Republic general, as we see here in the Ahsoka show now. According to Winston, Filoni had gave her a list of episodes and specific scenes from Star Wars Rebels, specifically those focusing on how much she loves to fly, really, as she says that, in quote, Dave gave me a list of episodes and specific scenes. There was a lot of looking at episodes that focused on how much she loves to fly, and the way that turned on her spirit and her energy, ending that quote right there. However, Mary Elizabeth Winstead wasn't the only member of Ahsoka's cast to ask to catch up on the character's canon and asked to have seen scenes or episodes of Star Wars Rebels. Natasha Liu Bordizzo, who plays Ahsoka's Mandalorian trainee Sabine Wren in live action, also caught up with Star Wars Rebels, but decided to stop watching after we started filming, as she had mentioned. She had mentioned this now several months ago, and did this specifically in an effort to avoid the different truth of between Rebels, or animation rather, and Ahsoka with live action. As Natasha Liu Bordizzo says, in quote, I did not watch Rebels at all after we started filming. I wanted to separate that whole kind of expectation. I think it's just healthy because you're finding a different truth in live action, ending that quote right there. As we also see and hear that she reveals of that she didn't want to have this specific expectation of what really turns out to be and go on with her overall character of Sabine Wren, and that we have also heard her describe in previous interviews before as well, is that she did want to bring her own twist, her own spin, and her own feel to the character of Sabine Wren. She wasn't necessarily trying to copy and paste of what we had from Sabine Wren in animation versus what we have her now in live action. Of course, you have to be like, you're playing the same character, of course, I think that's a given, but she definitely wanted to put her own spin on it for sure, and not have a direct, like, just carbon copy of what we had with the animation. I think especially with seeing that some time has passed and it's now after the events of the original trilogy, the war, the Civil War, the Galactic Civil War, between the Rebellion and the Empire. So with that, and then there's also a lot of other number of changes changes that had gone on, not just with Sabine's life, but also with the rest of the Ghost crew. And so, while Ahsoka is this quote-unquote semi-Star Wars Rebels spin-off or continuation, acting as a Star Wars Rebels Season 5 in live action, this new live action chapter differs in more ways than just its medium of being live action versus animation. Ahsoka's cast is largely made up of women, with Ahsoka Tano, Sabine Wren, and Hera Syndulla as its leading cast, alongside with a new female villains as well. The fact of something that Winston found both natural as well as just incredible overall. This is something I personally love, and something that she did mention a couple of months ago now about how she just felt with working on the Ahsoka show with pretty much an all-female led cast here. And I think I really agree with her. I strongly agree with her. It is just one of those things that feels natural so far. We're on episode 3 already, and it is incredible at the same time. It's not something that's necessarily being forced down your throat, and it definitely just feels natural, and it makes sense at the same time, given how Star Wars Rebels kind of ended with all the guys, Ezra Bridger just flying off into a whole nother galaxy, the death of Kanan Jarrus. We now know that Agent Kallus, or just Kallus, and Zeb are now a part of the New Republic, so there is a fingers crossed moment that they could and would appear in the future episodes of Ahsoka, but they're off busy doing their own thing as well. As Mary Elizabeth Winston says that, in quote, "Even though it is so incredibly rare, it just felt so natural. It just didn't really click into my mind until we were a little bit into production, and I was looking around going, oh my gosh, look at all these women. This is incredible." Ending that quote right there. Very straightforward on that overall. It is just one of those things, though, as I had mentioned, that just feels natural and makes sense for the story. So this here all being said, how is Ahsoka's acknowledgements of Hera Syndulla's Rebel story going to play a role into the Ahsoka show here overall in the bigger picture? Given how integral piloting is to the character of Hera Syndulla, Dave Filoni's request was the best thing that he could do to help Mary Elizabeth Winston prepare for the role. But while those Star Wars Rebels episodes focused on her love of flying and the purpose that she finds in flight, they likely provided much needed context overall for her character's story. And so, while it is true that piloting charges her spirit and her energy of this overall character, it's important to know that she grew up during the events of the Clone Wars, and as we see her in the Bad Batch as well, before helping to form the Rebel Alliance that we see in Star Wars Rebels. She also is filled with a maternal role of the Rebels crew, making Ezra Bridger's disappearance akin to losing a child, as she acts as that mother-like figure of the Ghost crew. In addition to that, Hera leads the Rebels team with Kanan Jarrus, a former Jedi Padawan and Order 66 survivor with whom she was romantically involved with, and we even see their son appear, Jacen Syndulla, in the most recent episode, episode 3 of Ahsoka. She also had witnessed, unfortunately, Kanan sacrificing himself to save her and the rest of the Ghost crew before she had gave birth to their son Jacen Syndulla, who was recently revealed in live action. While episode 3 of Ahsoka suggests that Hera couldn't provide backup to Ahsoka and Sabine, fans are confident that Hera will come through and will have some type of ample opportunity to showcase her flying skills and see more of what Winston has learned and implement that from watching Hera in Star Wars Rebels. And as a little bit of a side theory on top of that, maybe when she does come around to help Ahsoka and Sabine outside of the New Republic, she'll bring along Zeb or Agent Kallus at the same time as well. With this here all being said, I want to know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this is an unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.